Evening, everyone. This is Alanda Gregory of Phoenix Rise Productions and Echelon Coaching. I am a life coach, Master Force certified, and tonight will be our first night of the 3-night webinar series, Empower to Dream. I am going to show you in the next 3 nights what it is to, what your belief system has brought you to, what you believe in, what you don't believe in, how has it shaped you and your being for the next 3 nights. I'm going to reaffirm your personal power. I'm going to reprogram your belief system. So if you are out there and you're listening and you are thinking about changing careers, you're thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, or you're looking on to take on a new project, and you are into some self-talk and don't think you're doing, this is to empower you. So just sit back, get your notebook. I'm going to give you some really, really great information and some valuable information. So tonight we're going to cover, this is day 1. Are your beliefs pushing you forward or holding you back? And this is definitely something we're going to talk about, the belief system. So with the beliefs, if they're pushing you forward or holding you back, we were going to go over tonight how your belief system is created, how it affects you now. We will engage in conversation about self-talk, how it has shaped the world around you and around us, how it's done on an unconscious level. I will also show you how your speech and thoughts are gifts, and they have been given to us to manifest our true desires. When, in fact, our belief system help us do the total opposite. All right. So this first day of empowerment is the beginning of your transformation of you, your life, and your belief system. We're going to cover, what is belief? Where does it come from? The subconscious and conscious mind, how you affirm your beliefs, and your heart's desires are waiting. What is a belief? What's belief? Where does it come from? Well, your belief system is something that you have been taught, or something that has been brought up in your environment, or what environment you've been in, whether it's experience or passed down from your family through traditional thoughts, patterns, and history. Although you may not believe or believe it to be right or wrong, your belief system has shaped who you are from the time that you were old enough to perceive or become aware of your surroundings. So let's take a step. Let's stop for a second. A lot of times, if you think about people, and have you ever tried to have a conversation with someone that you're trying to convince them of something, and it's what you believe, but they don't believe what you're saying, so you're trying to convince them to believe what you're believing? That is a challenge, correct? How do we get to that point? What happens? What happens is, here are 2 different people from 2 different upbringings, brought up in 2 different belief systems, and they both are right. How are they right? Well, that's because where they come from is right. They don't know anything else until they're ready to explore something else. This is how a lot of different religions practice, or cults are developed. And it's beyond a lot of other people's understanding, but that's your level of understanding. If you are in a cult, some people don't acknowledge it as a cult. They acknowledge it as their family. They acknowledge it as what they belong to. So therefore, they're not wrong. Everyone on the outside may see it wrong because it's a belief system. So to go on, the level of understanding can be traced back to childhood. So if you think about it, there's a lot of people that are born into certain situations. And so I want to go back, because last Friday we was watching a program about the cult leader that's in jail now, Warren Jeffs. And a lot of these people that's part of this cult, they're still in his church, and he's in jail, and they still hold true to his religion and hold true to what he's taught them. Therefore, that's their belief. However, people that got out of it don't believe that anymore, but they're wrong for believing it. So here we are again, 2 different belief systems. So this is what we are in, but we're not trying to solve the world's problems. You want to reprogram. So if you're listening to this, it's because you took on to reprogram your belief system. Okay, so your level of your understanding can be traced back to childhood, as I said. According to scientific study, the first 7 years of life are the most impressionable. The beginning of our habits, our principles, patterns, experiences, relationships with others, relationships with self, and the general stance towards our reality starts within our first 7 years of life. If you ever encountered someone that appears to be immature or have certain phobias that they had all their lives, most of those habits started within the first 7 years of life. Now, this is not to say that things didn't happen to them after that, but there's something that led up to that, their fear that heightened and it took on, and that took on a whole belief system. Okay, so a lot of things happen to people that's traumatic. Might have happened in the first 7 years, and it became their pattern of being, right? So the circumstances generally reflect our inner child, quote unquote. And without knowing where it came from, sometimes we forget that this happened, but we know we're scared of something, or we're stuck and we held back because of something that happened. So our emotional attachment to our belief is because if I do this is going to happen. So basically that keeps a lot of us stuck. So there are some people that have never experienced this, and they go on to live a great life. And there's nothing wrong with that either. But there's the general public, majority of society has been through something that has them in a standstill. The nation's poverty in America, our poverty levels are so high that there is a belief system to make them believe that they cannot get any further. They can't go any further. That's a condition. All right. So from experiencing that heartbreak or that disappointment, and it happens at all stages of life. But our very first experience started with our first break from an attachment without warning. Therefore, any experience that happens dealing with a disappointment is an experience that triggers a memory that make us believe in a conversation of self. So we start developing these patterns and these habits of why we are attached to certain things and why can't we move forward. As far as business is concerned, I'm talking to the ones that are in business or ones that are looking into starting new projects, and they can't understand why they're still broke, or they're making all this money and don't understand. That's who I'm speaking to. I'm speaking to those that are looking for a change and can't seem to get out of that rut, basically. So your belief system, is it holding you back, or is it pushing you forward? So let's switch gears. Let's think of happy experiences. Everyone didn't grow up in bad situations, and they didn't experience trauma either. However, there became a time when good life, up to a certain point, became a lie, or someone influenced you to make you believe in something else totally than what you've been believing in. And this is pretty much what happens when you get into a certain point in your life and you're discovering disappointment. Someone may come along of influence and influence you to think something else. And everything that you thought, or your whole belief system is shook because you want to just believe, hey, I can't believe this is happening. And then someone comes by and give you a promise. And then you go on, but then you may then take it on and say, hey, I'm okay. This is a better light. And some people, back to the cult leaders I spoke of earlier, they take advantage of that and make you believe that you follow them. They give you the promised land. And so what happens, that's your belief system. Your belief system becomes impressionable. So then you are attached to this certain ideal. And this is a start of something else. Whatever the experience is afterwards, that is your experience. However, tonight we're talking about reprogramming your belief so you can live the desire of your heart. And if you're listening and if you're watching, this is because you're looking to do something more in your life and break the pattern of what you believe. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about the subconscious and the conscious mind. So with our subconscious mind, the subconscious mind is equivalent to a computer memory, right? And it holds all this input. Now, like I just broke down the whole thing about a belief. You have some ideals that's been going on in your head from the beginning of time, as far back as you remember, and your subconscious just locks it in. Your conscious mind processes things. So if you have a painful experience and it's locked in the back of your memory, what happens? Something else comes up and it makes you remember, like, oh, I don't like this. This didn't feel so good. This seems like the same thing that happened to me before. I can't do this again. And a lot of times in relationships, that's what happens in our relationships, in boy, girl, work relationships, family relationships, because then trust is broken. So your belief system affects a lot of things. It affects your relationships. It affects your trust between people. It affects your being. It affects your money. It affects everything that you once believed in, that then you start holding back, and then that keeps you stuck. So on the subconscious level, it's involuntary. So subconsciously, you holding on, you have all this information. It's not right or wrong, because your subconscious knows no right or wrong. It does things involuntary. It's an involuntary system of your body. You breathe without thinking, you blink, your heart beats, all that's involuntary. That's in the subconscious level. Your conscious mind is your processor. All right. So it pretty much what happens is logic and reasoning. Is voluntary. The conscious mind is also known to be a gatekeeper of the mind. So if you're presented with a belief that doesn't match, as I said earlier about how you can talk to someone and they believe something totally different, then your conscious mind will filter it to the belief of the subconscious of right or wrong. So you're processing it like, okay, this is wrong. They think in one way, this is wrong. So you're telling your subconscious mind this is wrong. So that's what the subconscious does. It holds on to right or wrong, even though it doesn't know right or wrong. But your conscious mind on that level processes right or wrong and sends it to the memory bank of right and wrong. Okay. So this is when we go into affirmations. So we're going to talk about that the next 2 nights. Affirmations work that same way. You can tell yourself over and over again and affirm everything. But in your mind, your left brain, as you're telling yourself, like, I'm this, I'm that, I can do this, I can do that. And your brain's like, no, you can't. Because in the back of your mind, you already told yourself you couldn't do it. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow. And that's going to be the 3 rules of confidence. And I'm going to go into that tomorrow about more. Tonight is the belief system. We're breaking down the belief system. Tomorrow, we're going to go into the 3 rules of confidence. And so how to affirm your beliefs. So the affirmation is going to come after this, because this is the affirm your belief. So you ever thought about how you become good at something? Or have you ever tried to work out and you never follow through? Have you ever tried to recite or create affirmations? And I just said that, and the affirmations didn't work. I just broke that down. How you can tell yourself that something, but it really doesn't match up with what you're thinking, because you told yourself for so long that it doesn't work. Well, your beliefs are affirmed every time you speak your experience. So subconsciously, you're speaking your experience. And so I go back and I remember the story when I was a kid about the little engine that could. The little engine, if you all don't know the story, look it up, Google it. And the little engine could pretty much would tell itself, keep going. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. And kept going. So what the engine did was put into motion what he can do. Basically, that's what you have to do with your belief systems. You have to reaffirm who you are, and you affirm your beliefs every day, unconsciously, on an unconscious level, should I say. You are affirming your beliefs. So whatever conversation you're having right now about yourself that you can't, or you won't, or maybe, you are reaffirming that without even thinking about it. So if you want a certain amount of money and you're not getting it, it's because you are reaffirming lack, because you're concentrating on it. We're going to go into that. I'm not going to touch all of that tonight, but that is one of the, it's just a tip. I'm just going to give a tip of the information. You are reaffirming what you do not have by focusing on it. And I'm going to show you in the next 2 nights. No, tonight is just touching bases, but the next 2 nights I'm going to go into more on how you can start reprogramming that. Because right now, all this, your beliefs is on the surface. Everything has been processed, has been programmed into you, it's been locked in. You've believed these things all your life. And whether it's true or not, it has affected you on the level of physical being, on what is manifested, what is actually showing up, what's showing up in your life right now. That is what your belief. So wherever you are right now, your belief system pretty much got you there. And you can agree with me or not, but this is just from my experience and the research that I've done. That is pretty much what I've read and how the law of attraction work and things like that. We're going to go into that tomorrow because the 3 rules of confidence is going to go, oh my goodness. When I started doing this work, it started breaking it down. It was just really awesome how there's just different levels of this work has been researched and written about, that you have no idea how much we are affected just by what we tell ourselves on a daily basis. So your heart's desires are waiting for you. So it's time to reprogram your belief system and start inputting commands that match with what you desire. How do you do that? How do you reprogram your belief system? Like I said, the next 2 nights, I'm going to show you how to do it. Tonight, we're going to start, we're going to do something. We're going to do some groundwork. So when you're done watching this, you're going to grab your notebook and you're going to do these, write these things down. You're going to ask yourself these questions. What do I want? Do I have everything I desire? If not, why? What's my fear? What have I agreed to? Are my beliefs the result of what I experienced? Who is responsible for my beliefs? You want to ask yourself these questions, and because this is the groundwork to start getting into what brought you here. How did you get here? What have you believed up until now? Everything may be fine, and this is not for you, but this is for those that are looking to get something more out of life, because what has been working, what has been going on up until now hasn't worked, or it has worked and you're stuck. So that's what this groundwork is for. This seminar, this webinar for the next 3 nights, that's for those that want to reprogram their belief system, to unlock their personal power, to reaffirm their personal power, and to live the best life that they imagine living, and to talk to other people and to share this information with other people so you can help in your communities. Because if you look around you, there are a lot of people that are believing something that they think they can't have. And if other people can have it, they're not that they're not special. They worked hard for it, but you can have anything you want. Therefore, you have to start from somewhere. What is holding you back? Are your beliefs holding you back? So this is after you ask yourself those questions, this is what else you're going to do. You're going to write down in detail your answers. You're going to write down how you feel. Then you're going to take a look at how many times you said you can't, you won't, you never, you should, impossible, unable. You're going to look at those and see how many times you write that down. Or any word that brought you to the experience of disbelief in your belief system. You're going to write all that down. You're going to acknowledge the experience. After you write all those down, it's going to take some extensive work. So you're going to take your time. You don't have to rush through it. There's no right and wrong answers, because you're going to bring it back You can ask questions overnight. You can inbox me. I'm going to give you all the information. You can inbox me, and I will be more than happy to answer any questions you have. So you're going to acknowledge the experience or experiences and forgive yourself and forgive whomever you think is responsible for your belief systems or for holding you back. You're going to write this down. You're going to forgive. And this is kind of like starting over, because for the next 2 nights, there's going to be some more ground level work. But this is the ground level that's going to take you a little further. All right. So then you're going to write down again what you want. And you're going to write down goals and how you're going to get it. And how you want to achieve it, and how long it's going to take you to get there. You're going to always rewrite these goals, but at least now we're going to set intention. This is going to be part of the intention, part of the things you want and how you intend to get it. Okay. So once again, you're going to ask yourself those questions. I go over those questions again. What do you want? Do you have everything that you desire? If not, why not? Why don't you have them? Do you have a fear to why you don't have them? What have you agreed to? Are your beliefs the result of what you experienced? Who is responsible for your beliefs? Are you responsible? Is someone else responsible? When I say responsible, have someone taught you? You never seen the experience ever, but you were taught that it was bad, but you feel differently about it. Who's responsible for that? And then you acknowledge it. So then the next part of that, you're going to acknowledge all this. You're going to write down and detail your answers. You're going to write down how you feel. You're going to take a look at how many times you said the words can't, won't, never, should, impossible, unable, any word that's negative to your experience. Acknowledge the experience or experiences and forgive yourself and whomever that you feel that held you back, or you think held you back, because no one can hold you back. You can stay stuck on what someone said, but that's not up to them. That's up to you to let it go. Okay. And then you're going to rewrite what you want. You're going to write down the goals on how you're going to get it and how does it look like when you achieve it and when you achieve what you want. Okay. So tomorrow we're going to go over the 3 rules of confidence. It is going to knock your socks off. And I just want you to know that we're going to talk about for affirmations again tomorrow, how we're going to use the affirmations to change our perception of ourselves through conscious thought. We're going to be conscious after this work tonight, and we're going to go over it tomorrow. Ask any questions that you want. I'm going to go over some or more of this tomorrow. Other questions. I'm going to answer questions in tomorrow's webinar. You're going to be able to see that, and you're going to see this after I post it. And then we're going to talk about how to handle stress. So I want you to know this is a precursor to the Genius Protection Plan on creative visualization. So that's what this is all about. I want to lay down the beginning of creative visualization workshop that I have, and it's 12 weeks. All right. So once again, I'm Alanda Gregory. You can look me up on Facebook. Goldie Loves You with the letter U. You can join the Empower to Dream group on Facebook. If you have any questions, please inbox them on Facebook. You can friend me on Facebook. You can look me up. I have a personal page, or you can just join my fan page, inbox me, ask me any questions you want, or you can email them at phoenixgroupinc2@gmail.com, or you can leave a message. You can call 815-277-1048 or 563-277-0040. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I look forward to sharing more information. I am excited about this work. I really will love to hear your input. How do you feel? Like I said, you need any one-on-one coaching. I will be available, of course, after this 3-night seminar. We can book a 15-minute free consultation, and we can then take it from there. All right. Until tomorrow night, thank you so much for checking in. Have a good one.